Everything my generation has ever bought is meant to be disposable. First of all, what do I mean by disposable? Disposable being something that is meant to be used one or maybe a small handful of times and then thrown away. Things like styrofoam bowls, plastic forks, razors, things like this that use it a few times, it's trash. Never can be used again. As soon as one of these cracks, it's completely useless. The thing that's remarkable about this to me is that previous generations had more durable goods, often handmade, more expensive goods. These are things that you could either save money and buy, or things that you could make on your own. Pieces of furniture maybe, silverware sets, pieces of jewelry, art, home furnishings, clothing. Any of the things that were used then were saved up and paid for with greater amounts of money, but it was more of an investment. These things could last generations. And a lot of times these things do get passed down. Some people have collections of things that their parents might have passed down to them, or might have been from their grandparents, things that nowadays might be called antiques. My generation, however, doesn't have any of these things. While we may not always use disposable silverware and flatware, while we may not always use disposable razors, a lot of our food does come in excessive disposable packaging. I can't take an empty bottle of juice and have it refilled anywhere, like they used to be able to do with Coke bottles or milk jugs. The thing that's remarkable to me about this, it makes me wonder about what sort of legacy or what sort of connection we might have with future generations. Things that get passed down from older generations have a certain heirloom quality or keepsake quality, but we're losing that. We don't have the ability to demonstrate to next generation or the next generation what our lives were like then, what things were popular, what things were more common in our time. While I understand that a lot of this is caused by cost, and I don't mean simply cost in price sense, a lot of this is cost in a greater economic sense. People in my generation, I should say, are less likely to own homes. They don't have the financial security to buy a house, which would necessitate owning nicer, more longer lasting furniture. They don't have the financial means or the stability to worry about getting the best of some product. If you need a bookshelf, you don't worry about which bookshelf gets the best ratings, which one will last the longest, is made of the best product, the best quality, finest craftsmanship. If you need a bookshelf, you go to Walmart, Target, IKEA, and put down your $20 and you've got a bookshelf that might last you 5 years, 10 maybe if you're good. But what else does this say about us besides our maybe lack of connection with future generations? It makes me wonder about two things specifically. First is, does this give us a chance to maybe have less of a connection to material goods? By that what I mean is, if I'm less concerned with the things that I own, if I'm less concerned with maintaining those things as they are not meant to be maintained or treated well, they're meant to be disposable, does that free me up to concern myself more with creating art or with spreading ideas or spending more of my time and energy being intellectual, being able to spend more of myself in a way looking externally and internally both and kind of finding your place in the world around you based less on the things that you own. The things that you own are so transitive and so fleeting that they maybe carry less weight or less import to you. Maybe I can spend more of my time talking with my friends and learning more about other cultures since I'm less concerned with a culture of my own defined by the things that we use, the things that are common, the things that are popular. There was a time when you could look at certain forms of furniture building, for example, that you could look at something, a table or a chair perhaps, built in the 1800s and tell where it was built based on the style that was used. And you could use that as sort of an identifying cue for the culture that surrounded that. Nowadays, though, things bought from IKEA or Target or Walmart all look fairly similar. There's no distinction between that someone might own in upstate New York and someone might own in southern Colorado. They have the same products, they'll last the same time, they'll be thrown away just the same. The second concern that I have for this, though, and maybe the more pressing, is does the disposable nature of our things in our culture also mean that we are less affected by that around us? Does it kind of lead us to feel or believe that as our things and the things that we use to signify our culture are more fleeting and less substantial, does that also make us more fleeting and less substantial? As we use more disposable things and are more prone to throw things away and not maintain something long enough to ponder it, long enough to think about who made it and why they chose the design they did, and what about it was that invoked something enough in them to create it, does that lead us to think less about ourselves that way? If everything I own is meant to be thrown away, is meant to last a few years, either through just being made cheaply or through intended obsolescence, am I then going to reflect that back on myself, thinking, whatever it is I'm doing now is now, it's fleeting. In a year's time, I'll be a completely different person. In a year's time, I won't own any of these things. They won't be in my trash even. They'll be gone. I will have forgotten about them. Where does that leave me? I know that these aren't the only two ways to think about the disposable nature of our things in our culture, but these are the two that maybe come most ready to mind and maybe have the most impact to them, to me. I think about this being either incredibly dire in that we are just completely dissociating from everything around us, or that maybe we are being allowed to do more, focus on bigger, maybe more important things. I'd be very interested to know what you all think about that. What things maybe strike you as odd to be disposable, or maybe what the nature of disposable things says to you. Maybe there's something that I haven't considered yet as far as an implication of this. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment or shoot me an email at your.invaluable.com. Excuse me, at your.invaluable@gmail.com. And I hope to see you next week. Thanks. Almost forgot. In the next week or two, I hope to put together an episode about puzzles and problem solving and all that. So if you want to help with that, I'm looking to get people together and kind of sit down and just at least attempt to try to solve Rubik's Cubes while talking. So if you want to help me out, shoot me an email or let me know. Thanks.